Welcome back to another video, and today we're working on my Mark II Megane and we're going to be doing a complete makeover of the boot. Well, this is what it looks like at the minute. Doesn't look like there's anything up with it, but as we can see there's a big belly in the floor. Not really a big issue, but it just makes the boot look old and raggedy, so it's not going to be able to bear any weight because there's no insert and I've not got no spare wheel. And it didn't come with a parcel shelf either, and it was also missing the little inserts that it has on the rear hatch. So what we're going to be doing in today's video, we're going to be putting some of the factory components back in, and we're going to be putting a little bit of a swing on it as well. So I've been out and I've sourced quite a few parts. I've got the underfloor insert, so that will then fit in the spare wheel, and I've got a parcel shelf. I've got a pack of clip together flooring. I've also got another boot light and the studs for the parcel shelf. So I got the spare wheel off my mate, it didn't cost me anything for that. Parcel shelf and the boot floor and the light and the studs cost me a £5, all from the same scrappy. If you're local, there's a place in Haydock, Newtonley Willows up that way, and it's called Mally's. Or if you search on the internet, it's under G&E car breakers. There's all sorts in there, and you have good bargains as well. So it's cost £5 for the options for the car, and I've gone ahead and I've got that flooring, and that's come to about £18. But the first thing to do first is to just tidy up the entire area. This needs a good hoover. I need to sort everything out in here. There's blades of grass, there's leaves, don't know what that is. Someone's marker pen, there's a little bit of a branch. So I'm going to give the car a good hoover on the back end. And I got this out of the car and it had half a bag of cement in it. So I'm going to wet back everything just to get the dust out of it, and then we'll be able to start rebuilding it. So the first thing I've started with is the underfloor insert. I've given it a good hoover and I've been beating it with a stick for a good half hour, and there's not much dust coming out of it anymore, and I would leave it like that, but I think we've got a little bit of mould starting in the corner. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wet back it anyway. Got a little bit of a speckle there, don't know if that's mould or not, but it's better to be safe than sorry. I'm not too sure if this is what I should be using or not. I've just raided the shelves in B&M. We've got an all round cleaner, put a little bit of a squirt in. Got our concoction all made up and ready to go. I'm going to address these areas first. Want to make sure it's nice and wet. No longer white anymore. So now the boot carpet insert is all clean, I'm going to do the same method for the parcel shelf and the actual boot carpet. And finally, I'm going to give it all a good misting in this blue orchid stuff. So I've currently got our boot carpets drying, and this is the water that we got out of the boot carpet and the insert. So while I wait for all the carpets to dry, I've come back out, and what we're going to be doing now is, I don't think anyone needs to see any more hoovering. I'm going to hoover all of this, I'm going to clean the wheel well, and we're going to be putting an additional light in this side. Shouldn't be too hard. just take this one out and then cut the hole to suit. So as we can see, it is just a square hole. There's no little notches for any tabs, so it's just going to be straightforward. Copy that hole and put it over this side. Before I go ahead and install our panel again, I've pulled a little bit of the headlining out, because next I'm just going to be routing the loom. Well, it's not much of a loom really. All it is 2 wires I've soldered onto the original plug, and I'll just be routing that up over the headlining. So it was all going smoothly. I've got this side back together. That's ready now to accept our new light. Screwed everything back in. I've had the headlining out, just pulled them tabs through and it drops down. So our black and red is ours. Dead simple. Back in. Come round to this side. As I pulled this off, there's grey wiring, and I've inspected the grey wiring and it was all bunched up on itself, and it was all in the way of this soundproofing. So I don't know if you could actually see when I started the video, but these carpets were hanging out. So I've inspected, and it's the Renault alarm. So I know the majority of people wouldn't have even been bothered to inspect it, but I undone the cable ties and I'm now left with this oversized loom. I probably could just bunch it all back up and stick it down in there where it wasn't before, but it would be out the way. But whoever's put it in has just thrown it in the factory, because we have got squished wires, and I have noticed an exposed wire somewhere else. Can't find it at the minute, but it is in here somewhere. So what I'm going to do at the minute is I'm just going to cut back the insulation, see if there's anywhere where I can shorten it or join it. I'm going to test the continuity of a few wires, like that one. I'll be surprised if that one isn't damaged just a little bit. So here I have the alarm unit, new and improved. I've put the wiring in some split conduit, so it's a hard plastic casing that it's in. And I've teed off all the way down it. They're the connectors for our sensors on either side. I've also messed around with this. I've put the wiring through the bracket, so when it's mounted it's just going back on itself. And I've installed the light properly. I've glued it in as well. So I think that's a much tidier, robust unit. And I've also removed these clips. I'm not a big fan of them whatsoever. So I've drilled it out and I've put riv nuts in, top and bottom, so they're nice and sturdy. So once I've sorted these 2 wires out, I can now go ahead and go back to what we were originally doing, and I can put our light back in properly. So I'm quite happy with that myself. I've utilised the factory cable ties, then taped it to the original loom. I've got a hard plastic split conduit to protect the wires. I've riv nutted and I've put button head bolts in there. And I've mounted our light. And there's no big bunch of wires left. So we're back up to where we were before. This is all reassembled. I've popped our new light in and I've teed into the live. So if I earth this wire out on the seat belt, should have light. So I think it's safe to say I can go ahead and solder them up. So I'm kind of hoping these are on a timer, because none of them are lit up at the minute. And you can't tell the difference on the one that I've done. They both fit in the hole nice and tight. I'm impressed with that. And you can see everything in the boot, it lights it up good and proper. and side light bulbs in them, so they are a little bit brighter. Finally, I'm beginning to see some progress. Wheel well's nice and clean. We can start to reassemble now. In goes our jacking kit, nicely tucked away. In goes the spare. In goes the insert, and our boot carpet is last to go in. Nice and tidy now. I've also gone that little bit further and bought a waterproof boot liner. I had one of these in my Clio, and I think they're just handy to have. It's almost a shame to cover that with the flooring, but we've still got a little bit of sponginess, so we are going to have to. I think that suits this car well. It has been rolled up so it's not sitting properly in the corners, but once it beds in, I'm sure it'll start doing its job. Fully tailored to a Mark II Megane hatchback. Next, I'm moving on to the main feature. So I've got a 5mm piece of plyboard. I've then put our boot liner on it, sliced around it. That was the easiest way to do it. And now I've just got to chop it out, and then we've got something for the clip together flooring to go onto. Got our piece of plyboard all cut out, and from afar it doesn't look too bad, but I ended up using a Stanley knife to do it so it didn't splinter. And it splintered anyway, here and there. So I'm going to go ahead and give all the edges a sand, and then we should be able to move on from this then. I've got the base piece of plyboard completely finished. All the edges are nice and tight. It fits in our boot liner perfectly. And our clip together flooring, I've had to take the backing off them because our PVA wouldn't stick to the backing that they had on them. So I've just hit it with the grinder, took it down to the MDF, and now we should be ready to put it on our piece of plyboard. The first half is all glued on and it's clamped up, and it seems to be setting okay, not much give and apply. So what I've been doing is I've just been applying loads of PVA, and then once it's on the board I've just been spreading it about nice and thick. Once you get a clamp on it, it should squeeze it into all the nooks and crannies. And same again for our board. I'm going to butter this side as well. Go ahead and spread this out as well, top to bottom. So I've let it set overnight, and I've just chopped the tag ends off and sanded it. And I think the PVA is strong enough because I could lift the whole thing up either side just by the boards. So I've been sanding for a good few hours, and I think it's come out alright. All the edges are nice and round. The lines on it are nice and straight. Got a good profile here and here. It's now time to see if it'll actually fit. So I've now got the flooring in, and it weren't as tight as a squeeze as I thought. Just put the back seats down, give it a little bit of a finagling, and it fell right in. I think I've done alright there. Still utilising the waterproof cover. And I've given it a cockpit shine as well, so it's nice and glossy. So I've gone ahead and I've pulled the trims off. And I'm going to glue them in. Reason being is because every car I've seen is missing these. I had to make a pair up out of 2 cars in a scrapyard. So we're going to push them through and we're going to glue them in for an extra measure. Parcel shelf studs and all glued in, not going anywhere. So we've done a full slat, and we've done 2 halves and a full slat. That's just to add to the structure of it. And these dual boot lights will come in very handy. And if you noticed, when I've just opened the boot, the parcel shelf popped out. So I'm going to have to get a new parcel shelf because this one's all warped and it's starting to crease, so it's catching on the back of the seats and popping out every time you open it. But I can't really complain, I only paid £2.50 for it anyway. As you can see there, it's not perfectly straight. But next time I see one of these in the scrappy and it's got an half decent shelf in it, I'll be grabbing that. So it is a work in progress. I've got all sorts in here at the moment. I've got tools, I've got stuff out of my other car, and I've got parts. So now I've actually got somewhere secure and safe and out of the way. So I think today's video has been quite productive. We've put all the factory components back in, even though I need to replace this, which I've sourced, I've cleaned and I've reinstalled. And of course this is what it looks like in the dark. Plenty of light in there now. So I would like to thank you all for watching. I'm happy with the outcome that we've got today. And if you like the video, go ahead and leave a like and comment, and make sure you subscribe to keep up to date on the progress of this Mark II Megane. Thanks for watching.